In the coldest winter in Chicago, there are people who don't die from the snow falling on the streets, but slowly die from the feeling that no one needs them anymore. And on that night, Emily Carter believed she was one of those people. She had no idea that just 2 hours later, two little strangers would take her hand and ask a question that would change her life forever. "Miss, can you be our mum?" Snow was falling heavily outside the window of the small café named Winter Oak Café in downtown Chicago. Christmas lights reflected on the cold, wet streets. People hurried by with their families, laughter echoing everywhere. Yet Emily Carter sat alone in silence in the corner of the café. In front of her were 2 cups of hot chocolate, one for her, the other for the man who never showed up. At 31 years old, Emily had already endured too much. 3 years ago, she lost her mother to cancer. 1 year later, she discovered her 6-year boyfriend had been cheating on her with her best friend. After all that pain, Emily became terrified of relationships. She feared hope. She feared being left behind. That night, she had given herself one last chance. She carefully chose her dress, put on light makeup, and practiced smiling in front of the mirror, even though her heart was already broken. Then her phone buzzed. A short message appeared. "Sorry, you're not what I imagined." That was all. Emily stared at the 2 cups of hot chocolate, slowly turning cold, feeling as if someone had just crushed the last bit of her self-worth. Outside, the snow continued to fall. Inside, soft Christmas music still played gently, but in Emily's heart, everything had collapsed. Until 2 small, childlike voices spoke beside her. "Daddy, that lady looks sad." Emily looked up. 2 identical twin girls, about 4 years old, were standing in front of her. They wore matching red coats, white knitted hats, and each hugged a small stuffed reindeer. The bolder girl stepped closer. "Miss, why are you crying?" Emily wiped her eyes and forced a smile. "I'm okay, sweetheart." But children always see what adults try to hide. The other girl gently pulled her sister's hand and whispered, "I think she needs a hug." Emily smiled through her tears. At that moment, a tall man hurriedly walked over with an apologetic look on his face. His gray coat was covered in snow. "I'm so sorry. My girls tend to make friends with everyone." He extended his hand. "I'm Daniel Brooks." Daniel was nearly 40, with a tired but kind face. The 2 girls were Lily and Sophie. When Daniel tried to lead his daughters back to their table, Sophie quietly said, "Daddy, no one should eat dinner alone on Christmas Eve." Those simple, innocent words made Emily pause. She nodded and accepted the invitation to sit with them. Throughout that evening, Emily smiled more than she had in the past 3 years combined. Lily told her about wanting to become a veterinarian. Sophie proudly showed her every messy drawing in her little notebook. Daniel shared that his wife had passed away in a car accident 2 years earlier. Since then, their home had never truly heard laughter again. He said softly, "The kids are okay, but sometimes I know they miss having a mother in the house." When the hot apple pie arrived, Lily climbed onto the chair next to Emily, looked at her with big, clear eyes, and asked, "Miss Emily, if you come to our house next Christmas, will you stay with us?" Before Emily could answer, Sophie hugged her arm tightly and asked with the purest eyes in the world, "Miss, can you be our mum?" The entire café seemed to fall silent. Daniel stood up awkwardly, embarrassed, and quickly apologized on behalf of his daughters, but Emily only shook her head gently. Tears fell silently down her cheeks. For the first time in many years, her heart no longer felt empty. Sometimes life takes everything away from us, not to punish us, but to clear the path for something more beautiful than we ever dared to dream. 1 year later, on Christmas Eve, Emily stood in the small, warm kitchen of their suburban home in Chicago, laughing as she baked cookies with Lily and Sophie. Outside in the yard, Daniel was hanging Christmas lights, occasionally turning around to look at his 3 girls with grateful eyes. On the living room wall hung their first family photo. Emily smiled quietly, her heart full of peace. She finally understood. The painful rejections in life are not meant to destroy us. They are only closing doors to lead us to the place where our heart truly belongs. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to the Deep Life Stories channel for more emotional stories about love, family, healing, and the simple miracles in life. And leave a comment below. If it were you, would you believe in encounters arranged by destiny?